I found some of your questions really intriguing and very more complex than the fundamentalist questions of Christians. I also used to think like you, using God to explain what science can't, but I changed my mind mostly because of the last item I'll discuss here. As a physician in formation, I thought I had a lot to add into the discussion. I don't intend to be taken as an intellect authority, on the contrary, I like when people discuss with me. Neither what I say is undoubtedly true, but at least is not a total nonsense. For last, forgive me for any English mistakes, since English is not my native language. 1. You are probably talking about the origin of the Big Bang, what there was before the Big Bang. I'll answer this question later, as I have seen, a lot of your questions follow the same argument, and I'll answer all of them together in the last item marked as asterisk. 2. You are absolutely right. This question you proposed is really intriguing, even for scientists. As a physician, I can tell you, for example, that if the force of attraction, or repulsion, between an electron and a proton were not the way it is, inversely proportional with the square distance between them, let's say, inversely proportional, only or by the third potency of the distance, the universe would never have evolved. It is precisely because of that second potency that the universe evolved, and we came into existence, to explain it in the first way. In other words, should the laws of physics not be the way they are, we wouldn't be discussing about an imperfect universe. This makes the question, why the universe is so perfect, meaningless. We can imagine another universe whose physics laws were different. For sure there were no intelligent life there making such questions. But if you ask me, there is a more fundamental explanation for why the electric force must be the way it is. If we imagine that a particle generates a field around them that weakens in strength as it goes on, describing a spherical surface with a particle in its center, we can imagine that the original strength of the field will be evenly distributed in this entire surface, which is getting bigger as the field expands. The surface of a sphere is 4*p*r, so we can understand why the force gets weaker by a proportion of r. This is true because of some mathematical properties such as surfaces and symmetries of space, but if you keep pushing me, as you did in question 4 about the origin of math, the only argument I can give you lies in item asterisk. 3. Even though I'm not a biologist, I agree with you that there is still not a widely accepted explanation for the abiogenesis. But scientists are not dodging this question as you implied. This is a very complex matter and many theories were created. Maybe someday they'll find out. Again I ask you look at the asterisk. 4. There's some discussion about if mathematics were invented or discovered. In one side, math is too correct to be just invented, as you properly quoted Einstein's saying. In the other side, things as points, planes, perfect spheres and etc. don't exist in real world. But if you ask about the origin of these things, I'll ask once more to look at asterisk. 5. This is my favorite argument, the morality. You gave a neat example with Hitler and Mother Teresa. But I can give you another example as the 9 Crusades which started from orders of the church, and probably killed more people than Hitler. So religion has nothing to do with morality, mostly because it is a man's interpretation of a book. As of your argument about good and evil, it doesn't make much sense. Good or evil being just a preference statement does not imply that they are not real. People's feelings are real, and you can live or die because of that. If you need an explanation of the source of morality, there is a trivial one. If mankind were evil in nature, it would have destroyed itself in the beginning and we wouldn't be here talking about this matter. Dawkins gives a more scientific explanation for this fact. He calls it the selfish gene. The gene that makes us moral, and consequently alive, is selected by natural selection and spreads itself. And for last but not least, I wouldn't like my children to have false moralities based on the figure of the Punisher God. I wouldn't like them to restrain their evilness because of fear. I want them to be real good people, to be moral from their cores, who practice good things regardless of the final judger. 6. I don't know with what authority you said that. Me, for myself, I don't feel any urge to find a reason for life. I'm happy knowing that I'm made of stardust, and that I'm as insignificant as that. Most people though, like to think they are special. They have some trouble accepting they are nothing at all in this huge universe. As for what I'll teach my children, it's about real moral, not false moral based on religion, and to live their lives with intensity, to live in love for today, to not waste time, to pursue all their dreams, because we can't be sure if we'll have another chance. I think they'll be happier than most people who are afraid of hell. 7. What you say is true again. Actually, in philosophy of physics there's a great debate about the free will. If we are made of a collection of atoms, which all have predictable behavior according to equations that describe them, are we also a big system which has a very complex equation that describes our behavior? In other words, is our mind truly free, or just a very complex computer program? Some scientists state that the whole is more complex than the sum of the individual parts, and so the true answer lies in an insanely bigger amount of study, which is beyond our current stage of science. But then again, we end up on the same problem that I will discuss in the item marked with asterisk. 8. Actually, it's quite easy to understand why we all believe in gods. Believe in evolution or creation, it doesn't matter. Imagine the very first moment when men were blessed, or cursed, with consciousness. Then he suddenly looked up to the sky, and saw a big, round thing floating up in the sky, giving warmth and light to him, protecting him from predators and coldness. When the sun went out, predators and coldness would strike. Solid things fall, they don't fluctuate. Unanimated things don't move. The sun is too good and powerful to be just a thing. As a matter of fact, nearly all civilizations in the world worship the sun as for creating gods. I highly encourage you to follow the link on the video information and learn about the theory of mind, which basically says that we have the ability to create theories about other people that are not ourselves. The second point in my argumentation is that we are not naturalists, neither theists. We are just highly susceptible to believe in things, especially when we are kids. It is necessary to life that we rapidly learn what is dangerous and what is safe to survive. Once the creation of the myth is done, it is easily passed down to generations. 9. I didn't understand this item. The fact that the Bible was not corrupted doesn't imply that it is correct, nor offer proof about anything. 10. Physicists don't quite believe that there was a designer for their laws. Actually, the holy grail of the physics is the theory which would unify all the separated interactions, gravitational, electromagnetic, weak and strong, in one unique fundamental interaction. And again, good or evil being choices don't make them unreal. And there are other explanations about why people are incurably religious. It doesn't imply that religion have something true in it. Asterisk, a lot of your arguments follow the line let's touch the wound, or in other words, let's push the scientists to the limit of their theories, and ask what comes before that. The fact is that scientists don't have the questions for all of our answers, like religion so competently does, and that doesn't imply that any supernatural explanation is necessary. Scientists do not have answers for most of the questions, because we seek the truth, and that takes time. Creating stories is not an option. Sure, you can just go to the limit of science and say, so science doesn't explain this, right? So God must have done it. There's just one problem in doing this. Science progress, and so, given enough time, we might come to discover more and more about the universe. When we give an answer to what there was before the Big Bang, will you push God further into past, and make him the creator of whatever that was? As science slowly progress, will you push God further and further into the past, making him explain whatever science can't? If by any chance science happens to explain everything, will we conclude that God doesn't exist? I hope I made myself clear, and that my opinion helped anyone who sincerely wants to critically think about this subject. Goodbye.